Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, two of the most offensively talented players in NBA history, each of them equipped with an arsenal of moves that made them an absolute nightmare to guard. If Kobe had you one-on-one, you're in a blender, and if Steph got any open space, it's bottom of the net. The reality is, both of these players have a resume worthy of being called the greatest offensive player of all time. The question is, which player had the deeper bag? We'll get the most obvious one off the board first. There's no doubt we know Steph Curry has the best three-point shot in all of history, so it's a no-brainer that he wins in this category. But let's not sleep on Kobe Bryant's three-pointer. Now, granted, his 33% shooting average for his career isn't exactly the greatest. Context matters so much when it comes to understanding Kobe and his career and his statistics. You have to be very careful judging Kobe Bryant based on his stats. But there's no doubt Steph Curry wins here in a landslide. And with the next category being off-ball movement, this is another no-brainer. Steph Curry feeds off this. Steph Curry is one of the best, if not the best, off-ball player in NBA history. The way he swings around screens, the way he uses people's bodies' momentum against them and just gets through areas, it's next to none. There's no other player in history that have done things like that. And while Kobe was known for having great off-the-ball movement, there's again just no competition here. Steph Curry is one of the best at this. Drink your water. Then, of course, we have handles. If you remember Kobe Bryant, watching Kobe bring that ball up the court, it looked like absolute magic. He really did just glide across that floor. It truly was poetic. One of the reasons why Kobe was so impactful, so effective, was because his handles allowed for him to get to any place on the floor he wanted to. Kobe Bryant had studied the game to such a point where he knew what moves he could use at any given angle towards the basket. The man was an absolute savant of the game. But the reality is, Steph Curry has some of the greatest handles in NBA history. There's very few that can hold a candle to what Steph Curry could do. And what made Steph Curry so dangerous was that he could release that three-pointer so quickly with any space after a crazy combination of handles on your favorite player that would just drive the opposing team absolutely mad. When it comes to handles, it's not that Kobe couldn't handle the rock at all. He really could. It's just that Steph Curry happens to be one of the greatest here. Again, which then brings us to footwork. And if you know footwork, you know how absolutely important footwork is to the game of basketball. Footwork in sports is also so important that it has football players, these massive men doing ballet, just so they can better understand how to move on their feet and control their weight. Steph Curry's ability to handle the ball the way he does, to navigate the court the way he does, to go around screens, to understand and anticipate what other players are doing, he really does have immaculate footwork. Steph Curry couldn't do the things that he does so well without great footwork. But footwork to Kobe is what three-point shooting is to Steph Curry. Kobe Bryant was an absolute master of footwork. When he entered the league as a teenager, he already had a strong foundation of footwork as it is. But as he progressed, he got hungrier and hungrier, and he wanted to keep getting better and better, eventually leading him to train with Hakeem Olajuwon the Dream, who's known in basketball circles as the absolute master, the wizard of footwork. If you want to get better at footwork, you go see this guy. And having strong footwork allows for you to be better in the post, to be better on one-on-one situations, two situations that can absolutely dominate and dictate a game. If you're good in the post and you're good one-on-one, it allows for you to control the game in a way that many others couldn't. When Kobe Bryant got you one-on-one, it was over for you. He had an absolute unlimited amount of tools that he could use against you. The way he could manipulate you, your body weight, your mind. I mean, he really had everything at his disposal. Kobe is widely regarded as the greatest one-on-one player of all time. And if you ask Michael Jordan, he's probably the only player that could beat him. And in a lot of basketball circles, there's nothing more important than being able to win your one-on-ones. Especially in the modern NBA, how often they go into isolation, there's nothing more important than someone that can just pull back, bring their defender out, break him down, and then just get a bucket. Kobe Bryant's footwork was an art form, a mastery. This absolutely goes to Kobe Bryant. Almost every one of my channel's viewers is not subscribed to the channel. Do me a huge favor and hit that subscription button. We're trying to get monetized. My dog and I. Next up is the lost art of the mid-range. And if you've been a fan of the NBA for the last 20, 30 years, you've seen the slow and honest sad decline of people using the mid-range to their advantage. It seems like Chris Paul is one of the very few players who is known for his mid-range game, and he's a few years from retiring. This is a really good category to compare these two because they differ so much in why they're strong here. Kobe Bryant is so effective in the mid-range because, again, of his 1v1 prowess, what he can do. Kobe's fadeaway is one of the most beautiful shots we've ever seen. Kobe's also known for being the greatest difficult shot maker in history. He could really make some of the most difficult shots. I mean, the man was shooting things behind the backboard. Kobe played in a time where those long twos, those were shots people took. In today's NBA, you either shoot 2 feet from the hoop or 40 feet back. There's no in between. And Steph's strengths here really stem from his ability to shoot really anywhere. Steph has pretty much figured every angle, every arc, everything you need to know on making the ball from any area on the court. But even considering all that, Steph Curry really isn't known for his mid-range game. He does have a beautiful floater, but Steph is usually using his handles to get to the hoop, or he's losing people on the edge, or he's losing people on the perimeter and dropping threes in their eye. The mid-range is going to have to go to Kobe because of what he's known for what he did to so many poor opponents over his career. The post is just not a place where smaller guards have a lot of luck. This is really the only area of their game that Steph's size really impacts him. Granted, there are some small people throughout history that really made a difference down there, shout out Charles Barkley, but the reality is people like Steph Curry, they're just not going to have a huge post-up game because it just doesn't make sense for them. And this is one of those areas where Kobe's footwork really makes a difference. There are so many moments within Kobe's career where you can see him using his feet to throw people off balance in the post and really open up his game. This one is Kobe, and again, it's not even close here. And our final category is one where both players are elite. Both Steph and Kobe are legends at finishing at the rim, just for very different reasons. Steph's floater and layup package really only compares to maybe someone like Kyrie Irving. Steph's handles and his threat of the three allows for these openings that gets him to the hoop, and then he releases it at this crazy angle, takes contact, hits the deck, and then it's an and one. It's one of the things that he does that makes the crowd go crazy. He makes the ladies go crazy. But then we have to remember Kobe Bryant won a dunk contest. This man is one of the most underrated dunkers of all time. You can genuinely put some of his dunks up there right there with Vince Carter, who's regarded as the greatest dunker of all time. People like Dwight Howard, they found out the hard way what Kobe Bryant could do when he wanted to get to the rim. Maybe this dunk right here gives us a little insight on why it didn't work out when they were both in LA. And as you go through Kobe's highlights, you see an endless amount of unreal and mind-bending dunks. But when you look at their careers, Kobe has been known as that guy who can finish at the rim. This one is pretty tough when it comes to deciding who did it better here. But when you combine Kobe's athleticism and his highlight reel of dunk after dunk, I just don't think Steph's layup package is enough to compete here, which gives Kobe Bryant the edge. If you've been keeping tally, that gives Kobe 4 and that gives Steph 3. It is very interesting to compare these two players because while they both were absolutely amazing on offense, they both did it completely differently. When we compare them in all these categories, it's either one or the other is the greatest of all time in that area. Steph Curry's handles is Kobe Bryant's footwork, things that were so powerful that it helped lift their game above everybody else's. But in my opinion, Kobe Bryant's all-around game, his ability to really do whatever he wanted, wherever he wanted to do it, because with Steph Curry not having a strong one-on-one package, diminishes how impactful you can be at the end of a game when it all slows down. Whether or not you like it or really how good of a coach you have, so many games, especially big ones, at the very end, they slow down. It comes down to isolation. And when your player like Kobe Bryant has literally every tool in the box to use at their disposal, from posting up to the mid-range to the three, it's more than likely going to be more impactful than someone who has to shoot a three or get to the hoop. Now, of course, if you saw the Olympics this summer, it makes me look really dumb here, but at the same time, I think you get what I'm saying. Kobe not really having any flaws in his offensive game just makes him the better player than Steph, who does have a few weaknesses in their game. At some point, we have to admit Steph Curry's size will always play a role. It's truly important that we remember Kobe Bryant in the fashion that he really was, one of the greatest players, if not the greatest player of all time. Him and Steph Curry both averaged about 25 points for their career. But if you look at the era in which Kobe played versus the era that Steph's been in, the scoring averages speak for themselves. Offense right now isn't even comparable to back then. Teams are scoring way more now, meaning defense is way less impactful. Kobe played in arguably the greatest defensive era in all of NBA history, going against teams like the 04 Pistons or the 08 Celtics. It's important to remember the game now is so much more open to the offensive player than it was back then. It's truly crazy how much can change in 20 years. Did I get it right? What did I get wrong? Do you think Steph Curry has a deeper bag than Kobe Bryant? Let me know in the comments. As always, hit that subscription button and turn on notifications. Go out there and do something great.